What is your shadow? What causes shadows, and how is a shadow made? Does light have shadow? Year after year, I've been having these burning questions, and now we have the answers. Since childhood, spirituality has been important, and surely the same holds true for many of you. And there were so many questions about shadows. Mostly the questions are spiritual and not scientific. Questions I'm sure many of us have asked ourselves, like, what is your shadow? What causes shadows? How is a shadow made? Does light have shadow? What is a shadow? Where did your shadow come from? Who created it, and what is its purpose? And now we have answers from Gesher, my spirit guide. Year after year, I ask questions about shadows. These questions have led us to this day with these answers. And now we can finally talk about the true reason of why we have a shadow. I actually understand and relate to this description and definition for shadows. If I had been given these answers previously at an earlier time, I wouldn't have understood. Now, gratefully, this information is thoroughly understandable. I am sure the answers to our questions here will surprise some of you, because I was truly surprised as well. But please keep an open mind. The answer is simple, yet intense, and it is good that we have these answers. Here are the following questions and my spirit guide answers, including what is the shadow's purpose. Your shadow is you without help from the Most High. Your shadow is alive just like you. Your shadow is told to follow you and must follow everything you do. Your shadow will be called upon to verify if you were spiritually awake when you were doing whatever it is that you do. Your shadow will say that it was there with you during the doing of your actions. Your shadow will say that all wrong done during the lifetime was your fault. Your shadow will say that it did not help you and did what you told it to do. Your shadow will be a witness against you. Everything that reports to the Creator has a shadow. If a thing has any living energy in it, it will have a shadow. Inanimate objects like the stuff in our homes, what we wear, and even plants and trees have shadows. The reason why is because it's living. All living things have shadows. A millimeter or less of light will give it a shadow. So why do tables and inanimate objects have shadows? Because their energy will be called to account. Because they have living energy within them. Because shadows are living entities and a proof and example of the spiritual world. The table can send into universal consciousness messages. The table was created from living energy just like you. So what does this mean? It means innocence will not be interrogated. If the table wants to send energy for itself, it can, because it has a shadow. And it has a shadow. And living energy inside of it. Be careful how you treat and talk to inanimate objects, because through energy, including the energy of their shadow, they have the right to take an account of every experience they have. While we're on this subject, I want to bring up an interesting point. I'm mentioning a parable in the Bible. I love all books and consider the Bible an interesting read. In it, the Jesus personality says to a tree that he commands it to die because it did not listen to him and produce fruit. He told the tree to produce immediately or it would wither and die. Immediately the tree withered because it didn't produce. So what made Jesus believe the tree was listening? We know that trees are alive. They hear us, they love us, and they help us. They understand stuff that's going on. Trees are really alive. They're actually listening and seeing. Now we surely know and have proof through this chronicle delivered by my spirit guide Gesher that anything with a shadow can think. Yes, that's right. If it can make a report as to what is happening to it, it can think. So let's talk about light and shadow. When talking about light and shadows, we're describing the desire to control. Controlling the level of light and shadow is not altogether possible. Think in terms of artwork, for example. The only thing you can do is distort shadows and light. You can create a different perception. You can change the perception of how light and shadows fall on any given subject. By changing the position of the object, you can control light and shadows. But you cannot control light and shadows directly. Light and shadows are always existing within the moment and unchangeable. They appear the way they appear, and you cannot change it in that moment. You can only change the perception of light and shadow. In each moment, it is bendable, but it is not changeable. Who is your shadow? A shadow is made from the essence of your experiences. Your shadow is you without God. The shadows are an energy created to help you. Your shadow was told to follow you and must follow everything you do. Your shadow will be called upon to tell if you were spiritually awake when you were doing whatever it is that you do. If you are innocent, you can do anything. And the more information you have, the more responsible you become. Your shadow will say that it was there during the course of all your actions. And your shadow will say that any and all wrongdoing done through the life experience was your fault, and that it is not responsible for your actions and was only shadowing. Your shadow will say that it did not help you and did exactly as you told it to. Your shadow will be a witness against you. You will never be able to harm your shadow. Your shadow is protected from you. Have no fear. If you're innocent, you can do anything. Innocence allows you to carry on without shadow worry. So tell yourself that your shadow has the right to follow you and has been given that right by the Almighty Creator. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe.